All right, here we go. I think everyone knows who I am. I'm now feeling guilty because I'm much less geeky than most of you people, and this is much less interesting. So I was sitting here thinking, okay, firstly, I signed up for this for some stupid reason. It's like, what am I going to talk to about? So I told you guys I chair the Ethan Alliance, and I talked to a few people about my cynicism about the current AI boom. And so I figured I'd throw some of this stuff in here. I'm not going to talk through all this stuff. So this is part of a presentation I give at Cisco Live, and it's really context. So these guys are planning to spend 765, that's supposed to be billion, in this year. So for all of us out there, we're now working in a scarcity economy or almost everything you can't get. Basically, they're projecting that the power demand is going to go up 175%. I'm guessing it's going to go more than that. So anyone who's thinking about doing a project in the next couple of years, think really hard. So people are doing nuclear power. Microsoft did a deal with 3 Mile Island. They're trying to build small nuclear reactors. Meta is basically getting lots of nuclear power, and they actually spent $6 billion agreeing with Corning for fiber. So anyone who's planning to do any work in the next couple of years, really, so I was talking to my friend over here, and it's like, maybe you should hang out because I think it's bubbly, and paying for stuff at the height is always a bad plan. All right, so this again is some information. You might see arguments out there about Ethernet versus InfiniBand. Well, Ethernet's already won. So again, I'm trying to give some context about all the stuff that's happening around us because what you hear is sort of all crazy. Port speeds, these are nutty. This is back-end port speeds. So projecting out to 2030, they're asking for speeds that don't exist yet. So from someone who builds networking stuff, this is just terrifying. So we are our hyperscalers are basically pushing us to go faster than hard. So the current thing we're trying to do is run at 400 gigabits per lane. And it's really hard physics. For those who are into signaling, basically a piece of wire this long inside a module is a stub and it causes lots of interference. So there's lots of very weird stuff coming. I don't really believe in full immersion cooling, but liquid cooling is going everywhere because they're trying to put a kilowatt in a rack. All right, so there's a group that started recently called the Ethernet Metadata Task Force. So what they actually want to do is basically put metadata channels alongside Ethernet, both per packet and packet independent. And the drivers for this really are what's happening in UEC, the Ultra Ethernet Consortia. They're doing a couple of things. One thing they're doing is link level retry. So they're actually trying to make it reliable link by link. Now, personally, I think this is really not a good plan, but this is one of the things that InfiniBand does. So when you replace a technology, what you usually do is replace A with B. You make sure B can do everything A does, and a few years later you throw stuff away. But they're basically going to do retransmission on a link-by-link basis because I think this is going to help. The other thing they're doing is they're basically doing a brand new flow control system. Why do we need this thing? Because when you run a cluster, you're basically running a big distributed switch, and they want it to work. So most of the time the cluster is busy thinking, but every now and again it has to communicate. It's a humongous any-to-any, and it's a barrier at the finish. So the network for probably 5% of the time is 100% busy. So this group is up and running, and they're going to do it basically both metadata that travels per packet and packet independent for basically 50 gig and above. They have a baseline proposal. So for per packet, they're going to reuse the preamble like everyone does. And packet independent, they're actually going to insert some signaling bytes in the middle of the stream. So anyone who wants to decode this stuff might have to think about what they could possibly get access to. They actually have a baseline proposal. They're going to futz with the IPG and preamble, of course. Put stuff in them. They're going to reuse the preamble and SFD, and we expect the standard to be done by 2027, like now, because they want to build this stuff. So the UEC spec is already out, and they come to 8.3 and say standardize this stuff because we need to have it. So, all right, so there's and header compression is back. All right, anyone done Van Jacobson's header compression on triple P? Yeah, no. Okay, so it's sort of odd because they want to compress the headers, and this is really for a scale-up network where you're doing memory semantics. There's a session here. I can show you the ESUN one. I can't show you UEC, but you can actually sign up to this group and get it. So let's go futz with the header. And so this is the less dramatic one. The UEC one is even more dramatic. So this is coming. People are going to go and do this stuff. Now, it really is a question for scale-up memory semantics, but it's a bit weird because when you build switches, per packet rate is all the thing you care about. So this stuff is all coming. So those who want to monitor this stuff might want to think about it. Thank you.